Good morning. Right now, it's just after 9 o'clock. I got my good friend, Dr. Aaron Chapa. I'm going to throw us on to the FM. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, if you are watching the stream on social media or YouTube or wherever you get your information from, share this out. Let me know what you got going on today. Reach out. We're going to have some fun talking about heart health, cholesterol. February continues. Let's go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. This is Kickstart. My name is Gardy. I have Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center. They're located in Leak City, Texas, 815 East Main Street. The phone number is 281-554-8600. JustLiveWell.com. If you're looking to get a hold of Dr. Chapa and maybe go in for some advice, some nutrition information, that's how you reach out to him. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Oh, man. Fantastic, man. Finest frog hair, like I always like to say. And I always follow that up with, have you ever seen hair on a frog?
I have not.
And that's because it's so fine.
It is.
So fine. I tell you what. That's about how
you have a glow. You have a glow about you today.
I know. What is that?
There's something going on.
It looks like a little halo.
It looks good. Yeah. Is that your halo?
That is apparently I'm radiating heart goodness today. We had a fantastic event last night. Thanks to all who came out. And we were talking about heart health last night and all the different factors that go into helping people, understand that they can take the bull by the horns, that no matter what type of diagnosis you've been given, no matter what type of symptoms that you are dealing with that you were not genetically born with, we are encouraging people at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center to not lie idle and let disease happen or let symptoms manifest without, pursuing an answer. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're giving just that, answers to your health conditions, your health problems, and helping you understand why your body is breaking down, and then giving you practical application to lifestyle modifications, herbal changes, nutritional effects, nutritional deficiency replenishment in order to break the chain, break that bond towards symptoms and disease, moving you towards health, wellness, and vitality. And Living Well has been around for almost 15 years, and this is one of my topics where I get really fired up, and I think last night as well, because this is the primary reason I got into practice. One of the major defining moments for my upbringing at 19 years old. My father passed away suddenly of a heart attack. And I mean, I'm still, like yesterday, I even got some revelation from that death experience, that ushering my dad to the death's door, and how that affected, me even today. And, it's interesting to me, the closer I draw to the Lord Jesus Christ, the more I realize how in control he's been in taking care of me all these years afterwards, and things I didn't know then. I mean, the number of ways I've been blessed that God has used something bad, a tragedy like my father passing away suddenly, has been a blessing to me more than it has been a curse, and it has shaped the way I go through my day. I live intentionally every day. I'm very proactive, and I'm taking the bull by the horns. And I want to lead from the front. I want to be blazing new trails for people to know how to get well and stay well, to help them realize that just because somebody in your upline, your ancestry, has heart disease or has cholesterol problems or has cancer or has any diagnosis for that matter, an autoimmune condition, doesn't mean that you have to be, following that same footstep. You don't have to follow the same recipe in order to get well, stay well, and be well. And so I come back full circle, and I look and say, man, all the things that I've been trained to do to take care of my heart, all the things that I've been able to do to take care of my metabolism, to take care of my immune system, to take care of my endocrine system, to take care of my digestive tract, has been giving my body an opportunity to heal well and to control that gene code that expresses, when out of control, heart disease. But doesn't mean I have to have heart disease. I can express all the genes that doesn't express heart disease, and I think that is really cool. And how many of us out there have been told, oh, it's all genetics. Cholesterol is a genetic problem.
What is cholesterol?
So cholesterol is basically a a biological molecule that helps your body generate hormones. And it's an absolute necessity for life. Without cholesterol, our body cannot be healthy at the heart level. It can't be healthy at the hormone level. And a lot of people mistakenly think that cholesterol is the devil, because we've demonized it to the hilt.
Yeah, I only hear high cholesterol. Hey, your cholesterol's high, but you always think like, oh, cholesterol, that's bad.
Well, it's interesting that your body will make 80% of its own cholesterol. So really and truly, most people will agree that cholesterol is not affected greatly by dietary intake, because the less you eat, the more your body will make. Does that make sense?
Yes. I have a question about cholesterol and working out. So this is from April. She said, also, will working out a lot hurt my heart, or will it help? Does that affect your cholesterol as well?
So working out in general is always going to be a benefit to your heart. The more you get the heart moving and grooving, the less likely you're going to have like sluggishness in those small capillaries. And working on making sure the capillaries are moving freely, that your arterial lining or your arteries going towards the capillaries are dilating and contracting like they're supposed to. A good exercise routine, a HIIT exercise, or just cardiovascular, like going for a general walk. I mean, you don't have to do like a hardcore anaerobic activity where you're pushing your heart to the nth degree. You can just do a gentle, 20-minute exercise to maximize. We talked about this last week, getting your body at that fat-burning potential to maximize 80% blood flow to capillaries. It doesn't normally get blood flow just through consistency. So I think exercise is a consistent factor that affects us positively. So we want people to definitely exercise and push yourself. Your heart likes it. You know when you're at that limit, and it's not about going in the gym, no pain, no gain. It's about consistency over time. That's how I think exercise plays its most benefit. Anything. It's just like joint mobility. The more you move, the more you groove, the better you will feel. So if you get to a point where you find you're not as active, then we've got to change that, because seasons come as we get older where we find ourselves more stagnant, more stressed, more, driving our kids around, chasing schedules, and we're not taking that 30 minutes or that hour to go and exercise and do something for ourselves. And so what happens then is we get out of the routine, and then we find ourselves wondering, like, wow, why can't I move as well? Why doesn't my body groove as well? And if the dude don't move,
the dude don't groove.
The dude don't groove.
And once you stop moving, it's really easy to get comfortable and sit down, lay on the couch, stay asleep, do anything else besides what keeps you healthy and moving.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And so although sleep is a powerful tool, I mean, we definitely have to have good sleep, but excessive sleep can be a potential problem for people as well. So we want to help people see that movement is good, but then what are some practical things? I mean, will exercise help your cholesterol? Well, I mean, sure. I mean, because cholesterol is carrying nutrients. It is detoxifying tissues as well. So the cholesterol in and of itself they give you a total number on your blood test, and it rises with age. It's very common for blood cholesterol to rise with age, and without, like I said earlier, cholesterol, you can't make hormones. And if your body makes 80% of its own cholesterol, then we need to be thinking, why are we so avid reducing cholesterol to these unrealistic numbers? Like 150 is the new number that I'm starting to see pop up, and I'm like, wow, it was 180. What was that was pretty low. Now before that it was 200, then it was 220. Before that it was 230. But people are forgetting that it is natural for the body to increase cholesterol numbers as we age. They become cardioprotective. They become cardiovascularly beneficial, and cholesterol is demonized in the fact that it lays down a lot of times as a bandage in the arterial lining when there is glycation. And when you have glycation happening due to blood sugar spikes, blood sugar swings, out of control blood sugar, hypoglycemia, prediabetes, diabetes, then in more advanced forms, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, which they call diabetes type 3, what we find is we've got to get the message to people to help them realize that they don't have to sit on the sidelines idly. They can get after it and get into there and start working their heart over. And I think we could take 4 months out of the year and focus on our heart. I have, protocols that we build for people. Last night we built protocols for people to help them realize that their health is in their hands and their heart just needs nourishment. And we've got to create that space where we're giving people alternatives to drugs and surgery and getting people to live better, be better, and stay better one bite at a time. And food matters, water intake matters, exercise matters, mental clarity matters, stress matters, and, then we can get after really impacting and affecting the overall well-being of the person. And so I just get excited about talking about the heart because it gets first dibs on everything. Without the heart taking priority, your heart suffers. And if it suffers, your body suffers. You won't, get to maximize the oxygen you need to your brain. You won't get the oxygen you need to the cells for healthy cell fuel. You won't get mitochondria to produce energy money, ATP, which they call adenosine triphosphate. You won't have the benefits of living. I mean, the heart stops, it's over. You know what I mean? You can technically live without your wrist and your arm. You can technically live without, aspects of your brain. They call that a vegetable. It's not very good living, but it is technically living. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But when the heart stops, game over. And so we always want to be trying to help people recognize and realize that the things that they put in their mouth today, the choices that they're making right now are driving them towards a healthier life, or it is not. And so I always want people to grab hold of what they eat every day for breakfast matters. How much water they consume every day matters. And their intake of good nutrition matters, and what they're putting in. The type of salt they're putting in. I mean, everything really does matter. And we take for granted. I had a patient come in yesterday. She says, man, I thought, the Food and Drug Administration was there to take care of us and make sure they didn't put all that junk in our food. And the USDA was supposed to, help us know what is, right. You're telling me that there's bad information at that level? I mean, who are we to trust? I already got trust issues. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
And I'm thinking, yeah, I got it. And this is the world of confusion that people are living in, and they don't really realize that just because it's on the shelf at the grocery store doesn't mean that you should eat it. Like when you go down the aisle and you're looking for just something simple like a garlic spice, you'll be surprised at the number of spices that are garlic spices that have partially hydrogenated oil in it, which partially hydrogenated oil is one of those factors that will clog up and stagnate the liver. And if you slow down production in the liver, your metabolism immediately starts going down.
Yeah, I always think that like spices are like, okay, like, hey, I'm putting, salt and pepper, garlic salt, this other stuff on my food, and it's kind of like fair game. But what you're telling me right now is that some of these spices, they sneak in other ingredients that can do damage to your heart.
That's right. And most spices that people purchase also have this really really detrimental, true devil, is sugar. Because in America, like, we need tickling of those taste buds, those sweet receptors need to be activated. And we have forgotten, like, spices. I mean, garlic by itself is very tasty. And people don't even know how to, like, consume raw garlic. And they don't realize that, when you take raw garlic and you crush it up in your teeth, it releases all of its properties that regulate antimicrobial effects in your body and your digestion. It also regulates the way your heart functions more effectively. And it can decrease, garlic alone can decrease atherosclerosis and blocking in the arterial lining. It's one of the ingredients that we use to maximize blood flow. And so we want to see maximizing blood flow will ultimately purify the type of blood flowing through your arteries. Therefore, if you have a lot of sugar and bad oils and chemicals and MSG and artificial sugars and preservatives going through the blood, that is irritating to the lining. That irritation then requires your body to lay down cholesterol. That causes your body's arteries to become more thick, and then we're not moving and grooving like we talked about a moment ago. Therefore, we're not maximizing good blood flow. So now stuff just sits and stagnates. So have you ever seen a pond that is stagnant? There's a lot of mosquitoes. There's a lot of sludge. There's a lot of filth and funk. And you're like, ugh, I would never get in that.
Yeah.
And all it needs is some oxygen. All it needs is some movement. All it needs. I mean, I was at a lady's house one time, and I was with Murray Hallam, and he was a aquaponics, not a hydroponics specialist, an aquaponics specialist, and about taking fish and using them to filter the plant water for plants, and then the plants would basically create a freshness for the water, and it was this internalized system where fish and plant work together, and then we benefit in enjoying both fish and plant because they have a true organic farming happening in your own backyard. And I was just curious about this, so I went and took this class. This guy was out of Australia, and it was a week long, and it was quite amazing. I enjoyed it. Well, this lady that's house that we were at, she had a 10 or 15-foot pool that was, man-made pond, if you will, in her backyard. And she had these air purifiers in the bottom. That's all she had. And it was filled full of rainwater, no chlorine. It was literally pond water, but it was clear 15 feet down. And she just had 2 air purifiers in the bottom. And she was a molecular biologist, and so she knew how to clean up the water supply, was just make sure there's plenty of oxygen in there. And so, again, going back to movement is a powerful tool in creating that oxygen. And we use a product called Cataplex E2 when we go to Colorado, but man, we should use that more here even though we have a good oxygen rating here. We're not close to the top of the atmosphere like, the Mile High City is, and where we need to proactively push those production pathways and mobilization of oxygen more effectively. We could use a little bit of O2 production here in down at the sea level, and we could take Cataplex E2 or a product called Cardio Plus, which we've talked about before, and we could leverage those and dilate the arterial lining, bring in more oxygen-producing vitamins, and then all of a sudden we get better mobilization, better production, and then there's less likely chance for wound injury in the artery. We less need for atherosclerosis or cholesterol to form and percolate or build up on the arterial lining. And so cholesterol is very much this, it's been demonized, but yet they say fat causes, excessive fat, saturated fats causes us to have high cholesterol. Eggs cause you to have high cholesterol. But I really want people to grab hold of is 80% of the cholesterol is made in your own body, manufactured in your own body. And so you can eat cholesterol and your body will actually make less cholesterol. But it really has less of an effect on us. So eat the eggs, eat the butter. I assure you, there's more benefit to eggs. There's more benefit to butter than the alternative, the fake eggs out of a carton or the fake margarine.
Butter.
Yeah. That whole fake butter conversation, it's one chemical reaction away from plastic. We are not plastic, folks. We got to get to a point where we start realizing that, our bodies need real food, real nutrition in order to thrive in a world that is pushing us to be disease-oriented, that is pushing us to be, stagnant, that is pushing us towards more medications. I mean, there was a season in time where even evangelical, the Christian people, they believed so much in the power of God to heal, they would never even consider medication, and now we have even a decline in our belief. I hate to say that God is the same yesterday, forever. That He does still heal the sick, and we say, "Oh, God's just busy. Don't bother God with your prayers for healing. Take your medicine." Oh, what? There's so much. We've gotten so far away from like real truths, and people are confused on even the salt. We were talking to one of the patients, one of the members last night in the group, and he said that he was at the hospital recently, and they just used cheap table salt that anybody would give. Well, when you look at that, what is the only 2 nutrients in there? Sodium and chloride. And why is it white? It doesn't come like that. It's chlorinated. They basically bleach it. And so there's no nutritional value in your standard table salt. We need to be carrying our own salt with you. You know, we have a Mediterranean salt that we use here at the office, and this Mediterranean salt and Hawaiian salt is what we call the premier pink salt. And there's 82 trace elements and trace minerals in here, and a dab will do you. And it's a powerful salt cocktail that you put on at the end of the meal because you don't want to denature or cook. It's like a maraca.
And it sounds like a maraca.
Yeah,
It's a
Gardy's
party.
getting excited. Gardy's getting excited. He loves music, and
And I like this color. It's a nice little.
Yeah.
It's a pink color.
pink and white.
Liven up the food, you know.
The white is the Hawaiian salt, and the pink is the Mediterranean salt. So there's 2 different salts in there, and and there's that's rich nutrient right there. That's powerful stuff. And then we could come in and start saying, all right, well, you know, people think that their cholesterol depicts heart disease. You know, if they have high cholesterol, they're going to have heart disease, and that's not entirely true. You know, cholesterol has a benefit to the body, and I'll tell you what is more potentially troubling to the cardiovascular system is whenever we take a cholesterol statin drug and we put it in to the body and we blow up the part of the liver that makes cholesterol, and so your LDL number goes down. That's where the first aspect of production comes in, and your body maydays a message to the tissues out in the peripheral system and says, hey, I need cholesterol to come back and heal me. So the body sends back HDL, so the blood HDL levels go up. So it's almost like there's a strategic physiologic game. We've demonized LDL as a bad cholesterol, but if I teach people to do blood testing that subfracts out HDL and LDL, you'll find that your good cholesterol has a bad component and a good component. Your LDL has a good component and a bad component. And so if you have HDL numbers that are your bad component subfracted out, what you see is you're as susceptible to having many health risks, not just cardiovascular, as is anybody else. And so, but cholesterol can be really high, and you have good subfracted type A, what we call light and fluffy cholesterol of the HDL and the LDL, but it's high, and you're fine. No, nothing to worry about. Like, life is going to be okay. And so there's always more to the story. And just because science hasn't caught up with how the body is designed, that's not, meaning that just that some of these teachings that are out there that, they told one of my patients that they want cholesterol medications in the water. I mean, look, that'd be
everybody's drinking water.
Yeah, and that'd be as bad as having fluoride in our water, which we already have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is not a good plan. And medicating us to death is not the answer to health and wellness. And one doctor said in the 50s that maybe exposure to Western civilization is what is causing heart disease, because no other culture really has the cholesterol problems that we have and the heart disease issues that we have. But Western civilization is prone to it. It's like, you come here, we're all potentially going to get it. Why? Because we're following the same recipe. We're all chasing the Joneses. We're keeping up with them. We're all eating out too frequently. We're eating in our homes very little, and what we do eat in is typically frozen dinners and or frozen warmed up food that are prepackaged that have these exhaustive labels on there that we can't interpret half of the ingredients that we're eating, and we're eating make-believe food. Well, make-believe food leads to one thing and one thing only, Gardy. What is it?
Make-believe health.
Make-believe health, my man. It's make-believe health. We've got to get people to wake up and say, where is the food? What is the nutrition that we need to be eating? And what spices can we incorporate more of in order to maximize cardiovascular function and to maximize a good, healthy cholesterol level or a good, healthy, triglyceride level? And so when you're looking at a blood report, by the way, if your triglyceride numbers are above 120, 130, 140, 150, your cholesterol number is misguided anyway. Like, it's not a true picture of what your cholesterol is because you have a triglyceride problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got to look at both.
So here's a couple of comments that I want to read. These are from Tammy, and these are good. She said, hey, so the ladies need to make a purse pack with a salt shaker and all the healthy dressings and sauce. And then I thought that was good. She said, when you know better, you can and should do better. And then I added to that. And also share that information with friends because there's a lot of people that don't know.
Absolutely. And we encourage people every week, share this message out with folks. Because here, look, we are providing you as much health and wellness information as possible every week. We've been doing this for almost 2 years, 2.5 years now. And I love it. I love getting on the show and just sharing ideas and talking shop with you guys. And I want you guys to like chime in. What do you want to learn? What questions do you have?
Yeah.
Who do you know that is suffering with heart disease and elements of heart disease right now, and that are on a ton of medications that are only being prescribed a low-fat, high-carbohydrate diet?
Here's a comment, and this is a question from Amber. She said, I'm having open heart surgery in March to replace my mitral, mitral valve. Mitral valve with a mechanical valve. Is there a specific diet or foods I should eat now to make me heal better or faster after the surgery?
Yeah, so number one, we want everything that we do right now prepares you for surgery, okay? And so we want to look at, like, why did the valves malfunction in the first place? So we talked about last week our heart sound test. Last night, the people that came to the event, we offered everybody that came a free heart sound test. And so we encourage people to always come to our live classes. We have giveaways and fun stuff to give. But this test evaluates the valvular activity of your mitral, your tricuspid, your pulmonic, and your aortic valves. And we can see where dysfunction is happening. We can see is the valve closing like it's supposed to on the front end and or the back end of the sound of the heart opening and closing as it's pumping. And so we can find ways to stimulate and heal that stuff. When your valves start falling apart, typically it's due to a calcium-phosphorus ratio problem. That means you have too much calcium, and this could be formulating gallstones, kidney stones, bunions, heel spurs, bone spurs, spine spurs, or in your case, it caused valvular insufficiency. It caused a hardening of the valves. Well, look at your cardiovascular system like a giant pump, like a plumbing system. And there's two sides of your cardiovascular system. You have your electrical system, which is driven primarily by minerals, and you have your pump, your plumbing system that is just like plumbing in your house. When you have a blockage, we put phosphoric acid down the pipes, and it will eat away the blockage. And so most plumbers will, use some version of this to clean out the pipes whenever your pipe system is clogged up. Well, I don't recommend putting phosphoric acid down your hatch. That probably would not go too good. So we look for other means, and we have to go and say, what is the physiology? How does that calcium build up? How can we break it down? Well, think of how you break it down whenever you have a buildup of corrosion on your battery cables. They said, go get a can of Coke. And the Coke, what you poured over the battery cables, and although it's really fascinating, it literally eats it away like hydrogen peroxide and bacteria on your skin. And so how do you get that type of reaction to happen in your heart? Well, it's easy. We put you on phosphorus. So we start upping your phosphorus magnesium levels, and we start seeing a change in the calcium ratio, and we can start changing your overall valvular tolerance. My curiosity would be is depending on how much time, she said the time, but how many months do we have?
She said in March.
So it's coming up real soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I'm just a man that believes the body wants to be healthy and will adapt if given the right parameters. So I would use something like Plus, Cardiotrophin, Calsol, and cayenne pepper to increase blood flow, to increase dilation of your arterial lining, and to improve the efficiency of the phosphorus ratio to calcium, and see if we can't eat up some of that corrosion. And maybe your heart function will improve to a point where you might say, my palpitations I was having, or whatever reasons were driving you in there, low energy, low oxygen, I'm tired walking to the back of the store. I mean, whatever's going on, you start to see that improve, and you just say, maybe I should hold another month, and then you get better again, and then you hold another month, and before you know it, you never needed the surgery in the first place. That would be cool to me, But there's a faith there. There's a step of like, what if? Can I? Is it possible? Is that real? Or am I just kind of whatever the doctor says, I need to go do that? I mean, I truly think that we need to kind of have the attitude that we try anything that is not barbaric, And I know, they've done the test already, but they haven't given you lifestyle modifications and lifestyle tools and practices to implement to try to reverse stuff like that. Anything your body can develop, it will undevelop given nutritional density and time. And so just because you've developed this thing, maybe there's a chance that we can undevelop this thing with time. But even if you go forward and you do the process anyway, we still want to try to improve as much of the physiologic function of other aspects of the valves in your system in order to make sure that this never happens again. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
So either way, it's a win. Either way, there is a need for intervention from Living Well. Let us come in there and do our special part and help you function at a level more than they're going to give you at a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And no offense to the hospitals. I mean, they save lives, no question about it. But when it comes to being healthy and well, a lot of times the only recommendation is more medications and or a diet that doesn't work.
Right now it's 9:38. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. You can listen from the free KHEA Radio app from anywhere in the world as long as you have internet. You can also stream the video and replay the videos from there as well. Right now we're talking to Dr. Aaron Chapa with Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, hanging out, having a good time, talking about cholesterol and specifically talking about heart health. So here's another question that we wanted to get and keep asking questions if you're watching on the Facebook stream, and we'll get those asked and answered. So this one's from Brenda. She said, is there any feelings that you have about supplemental nutrition like Super Beets, powder, or other supplements that claim to boost energy via like nitric
oxide or something?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, yes, I use stuff to help do all of those things. One of my favorite products, I brought it with me, actually. We can talk about some of these. Hawthorn berries. Hawthorn berries is a great antioxidant. Everybody knows that berries are healthy for you, but hawthorn never gets mentioned.
I've never heard of it
I've
before.
never put hawthorn in my bowl of strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries. You know what I mean? But hawthorn berry is a fantastic way to modulate blood flow. And this product here is one of those products that we use on the arterial side of cleansing in order to melt cholesterol down, in order to increase blood flow, and to increase antioxidant formation and function. And we've chased that the next month with Vitanox. And Vitanox is going to be rosemary, green tea, turmeric, and grapeseed extract. So this is going to be driving some of those nitric oxide pathways, oxygen formation pathways, as well as anti-inflammatory pathways. So this is a huge anti-inflammatory. And the neat thing is you can stack some of these programs together. If you have like more on the side of joint pain, we're going to put some liver stuff, liver support, beetroots, is a huge way to improve joint inflammation reduction, but also inflammation in general throughout the whole body. And then when you compound that with, say, something like Vitanox or the hawthorn berry, all of a sudden what you get is you get a product now that is driving inflammation reduction towards cardiovascular function. And these are month-long protocols and programs. And so we want people to leverage the heck out of these things. And every month of the year, you should be doing something with Living Well in order to let us help you pick up area of systematic rejuvenation. We talked about it last night. Western medicine has one mode of entry. That one mode of entry is disease, symptoms, life-threatening situations, diagnostics, right? Whenever it comes to functional medicine, we have a wellness path. You can come in with your blood work, you can come in with your test, and we can evaluate and look at the blood from a functional perspective and see things breaking down before it becomes a problem, before it's diagnosed disease. So if your doctor has told you, sister or man, you're fine, there's nothing wrong, your blood work looks perfect, Or you're 55 and you got the heart of the blood flow or the blood quality of a 20-year-old. I've heard that. But why do I feel like garbage? Why do I have symptoms? Why is my thyroid not working like it's supposed to? Why this, that, and the other? And that just means that you have a functional pattern of illness. Your body's breaking down, but they can't diagnose it yet because it's not inside the diagnosable boundary. Well, when you come to a functional person like me and living well, what we do is we look at your blood work through a different set of lenses. So what Jennifer and I have been trained to do is to look at the blood work and to see where things are happening long before they happen. And so this is a great functional place to be. But man, I want you to go a step past that. I want you in what we call transformation medicine. Transformation medicine is taking the bull by the horns and you literally saying, I want to enroll myself in this process of change. How can I change my body this month? How can I change it next month? If a month is too long, how can I change it in the next 2 weeks? And trust that there is proven science behind doing things like hawthorn berry. There's proven science in doing things like grapeseed extract or turmeric. I mean, turmeric is a great, for people that want to, increase body leanness, getting rid of the white fat that nobody likes. By activating brown fat production, turmeric does that. And so this product alone can do multiple things with the anti-inflammatory properties of rosemary and of green tea. And then the turmeric and the grapeseed extract are your major anti-inflammatories, but that turmeric helps in activating brown fat production. And brown fat is the motor that burns up white fat. And so in a couple things on turmeric and brown fat production in the body is cold showers is a great way or cryotherapy is a great way to activate brown fat production. High-intensity interval training is a great way to do that. And this idea of turmeric. But you got to remember, you don't want to just have turmeric that is been adulterated at the processing plant, thrown into a powder, and you call that what your daily turmeric intake is. Make sure that the turmeric that you get is organic and clean, and make sure that, man, if you could even get it where it's fresh, like when we were making soups on the detox, I had this inkling just the other night, post-detox, wanting Thai food. So I called my friend Kika's Kitchen, and she says to me, she goes, "Oh, come on down, let's make some." And I'm like, "Really?" She goes, "Yeah."
And you're already outside the door.
I was already outside the door.
Knocking ding dong.
No question about it. I was there, buddy. And so sure enough, I'm watching her, and she's cutting up fresh turmeric, and she's like, "Here, chew on this." And she was like, "Remember what I told you the poem last week? Here, eat this root,"
Yeah.
And when you chew up some of these roots, sometimes they don't taste fantastic. My goodness, the nutritional capacity of getting the rawness of food into all those biophotons, those phytonutrients that upregulate true nutrition or physiology in our body is where we get the benefits. So she was throwing this stuff in my soup, and then I took the soup home, right? Well, I ate it. My kids ate like 3 bowls of it. It's amazing my kids eat better at Kika's house than they eat at my house. But I cook a lot of the same things because I like a lot of Kika's food. So,
are you saying that hers tastes better?
It must taste better, or it's just the fact that Kika cooked it. When Kika cooks it, everybody loves it.
Yeah,
it's not as good at my house.
Some people have the touch.
That's right,
Yeah.
and I need that emerald bam, and I got to get that working. That's where the Himalayan, the Hawaiian and Mediterranean salt comes in.
Yes,
but anyway, I took the base of that because I had some left over, and I go home and I literally recreate the whole dish and did everything that she did the next day. And then I thought I was going to have leftovers, and I fed no adults. It was just me. I had 2 bowls myself, and I had 8. I think I had like 6 or 7 kids at the house, and literally all the kids are eating the Thai soup. And every parent would have been thrilled to see their children eating real food for a change. I mean, it was so good. It was so awesome. I was so proud of myself, and I was like, "Yes, Chapa's Kitchen did a good job." You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. I got a air fryer for my birthday.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. It's still in the box. I just got it yesterday. My mom
Is it
got
the
it
little
for me.
oven one, the Vortex?
Yeah, it's like a Vortex. It says it does like 8 different things.
Yeah, cool.
My wife was like, "Where are we going to put this?" And I don't know.
It's like, "Don't worry about it, honey. We're going to make this work."
The counter. I was like, "Well, you knew I kind of wanted it. You told my mom that I wanted it." And so she got it for me, but I don't know what I'm going to make first.
Oh, man, a rotisserie chicken sounds really good. I think I might need to do that myself again. I did that the other day. And, it's really cool to see it in there flopping around. You feel like a professional, you're like, like really sophisticated.
I know what I'm doing.
And and the reality is it's not hard. And, that it does make it easy. And so tools help us. And guys, the nutritional supplements that we use at Living Well Clinical Nutrition, 97.5%. Grab that stat. 97.5% of all supplements purchased on the market today are either not safe or not effective. So I'm very confident in what I'm prescribing and using as a tool. Whenever we say we can increase your metabolism, we can say we can help manage and modulate blood sugar pathways, when we can repair tissues in the body, I know for certain that the science is there, the tools are there, and at Living Well we have the 2.5%, and that 2.5% is what you're looking for, and it's because I find today sometimes it's even harder because they know the buzzwords to put on the label: non-GMO, no soy, no gluten, no dairy. You know what I mean? And although that is good. Yay, they got that one right, but the quality of the nutrient is not there. They still heat treated it wrong, so that you lose a lot of the phytonutrient properties of the herbal plant. And remember, herbs, not one of the herbs that I'm promoting today or talking about with my patients in my office every day is for conditions. We are supporting people. Plants are for people. The people take in the plants. The plants have an effect on our biochemistry. The biochemistry modulates change. Change is what we're after. Transformational medicine is what I want you to grab hold of. And so what I'm discussing right now is this conversation an idea of, like, what if we took 4 months, the next 4 months, and we just added one of these products in? This is called Vascular Care Complex, Butcher's Broom, Horse Chestnut, and Ginkgo. And ginkgo, of course, everybody knows is great blood flow enhancer. But what about the horse chestnut? What about the butcher's broom? These items are going to be very anti-inflammatory, and they're going to be cleansing to the vascular side of the body. And so if we can get the vascular side of the body clear and clean, then the arterial flow can go through that system more effectively. So we always want to make sure that we're cleansing not just the arterial side of the body, but also the vascular, the venous side. And so we've got to take care of two sides of our tissues in our system, as well as make sure that we're supporting the actual heart itself. The actual pump is working, and your heart is, remember, it beats because it's told to, not because it's wanting to. It wants to be as lazy as we want to be. 2/3 of its life, it's actually asleep. And we always are. So that's why such a jolt of power does it have to, like, oh, got to do a job. And, oh, I got to do a job. And thankfully, you don't have to regulate or worry about any of it. At least you shouldn't know that your heart is beating and throbbing in your chest. If you got angina, if you got chest pain, that's what angina means. If you've got palpitations, that's not normal. If your heart beats excessively hard, that is not normal. We have to start assessing things like stress. And if you're stressed on a 0 to 10 scale, we find a lot of people just don't know how to assess their stress because we're all told we can't cry, we can't complain, we can't whine. And I get all that, and I appreciate all that, but sometimes we have to assess our body. When you take your child into a visit anywhere, they assess them. When you take your car in for a visit to the mechanic, they're assessed. And they put them up to a computer and they run diagnostics on it and they try to figure out what's the body doing, what's the body, telling me. And so we have forgotten as diagnosticians, as doctors, as clinical healers, to listen to the body's many cries. And so we've suppressed those things, and so people do not realize that when you have palpatory symptoms behind your chest bone, that's not something you should be feeling. That's a check engine light. When you have radiating pain, tingling in the arms, when you have ringing in the ears even, or you feel like you have like a pressure type vice halo headache around your temples and all around the back of the head, that is a B vitamin deficiency. There's issues there. The body's crying out for help. And the heart can't be what the heart is without B vitamins, specifically the water-soluble side. We use a product called Cataplex B, or if you're a methylation issue person, we use methylated B vitamins to help regulate that. We come in also with minerals, the organically bound minerals, the magnesium from Easy Mag or magnesium lactate, in order to regulate the calcium-magnesium ratio that so many people are dealing with. I mean, we have a underestimated understanding of how much minerals affect everything in our body. And so Gatorade is not your, choice. Juice is not your choice of good nutrients for that. The quality of those nutrients are really low.
I remember you and Jennifer with you all put me on blast for drinking that. It was a Gatorade Zero. I was sharing. It was something I wanted something at home, and we had some Gatorade Zero, and you were like, "You're drinking. I'd rather you drink the real Gatorade than the Gatorade Zero."
Absolutely,
with the real sugar.
And the challenge is, I mean, whether you do the product and that's a buzzword, right? Anything that says 0 calories or 0 sugar, light, sugar free. These are words that indicate artificial sugars. They're putting in fake stuff. And a lot of times they're not putting stevia in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're putting in aspartame. They're putting in sucralose, which is not sucrose, okay? Sucrose is naturally occurring sugar. Sucralose makes it confusing, and I think is done on purpose. The sucralose is a chlorinated hydrocarbon that happens to taste sweet, but it's very, very poisonous to our body. A lot of these things are known neurotoxins. They disrupt the way the brain functions, and they sedate the mind. They make people more passive and not, actively productive and pushing themselves to be more adventurous and do, better and continue to push themselves past wherever they're at. They just settle. And so I think a lot of the things that we do to ourselves with chemical foods, processed foods, and these artificial, make-believe foods is changing the way people live in the world. And so I'm just, always trying to help encourage people, like, take the bull by the horns, put the right fuel in, your body will give you a better result, I assure you.
Here's one more question. This one's from Tammy. She asked, do all the chemicals we are exposed to in our air and water also affect cholesterol?
Yes, inflammation in the body from the environment, whether we breathe it in, drink it in, eat it in, all can have an effect from an inflammatory perspective on cholesterol. And I think it goes back to what I said earlier, where I think exposure to Western medicine over time is going to cause blood pressure numbers to go up and cause cholesterol numbers to be out of balance. Because I don't know that I'm really concerned as much about cholesterol numbers being high, except whenever the inflammatory low density cholesterols of your HDL and LDL subfractionation blood work indicates. So if you have a thick, dense cholesterol molecule that's going down the blood lining and gets stuck in those endothelial cells, that creates a problem. That creates inflammation. Just because you have high cholesterol doesn't mean you're going to have that. If you have light, fluffy subfract HDL and LDL, all of a sudden you have a healthier biochemistry. And so that is not necessarily a problem. And like I said, in the front end, high cholesterol, we've got to get away from like high cholesterol being a bad thing. As you age, high cholesterol can be neurologically protective. Well, so what, don't you think our brain needs to be protected, especially with the amount of dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's running around? I mean, and memory loss, people struggling with names, numbers, and words. I mean, maybe this whole idea of pushing people's cholesterol numbers down so low is what's driving a lot of cholesterol, dementia, or brain issues. So this conversation needs to be addressed where it's not so much that we're looking at our environment at causing high cholesterol. We're looking at our environment that is driving inflammation. And the inflammation, the body is using cholesterol to manage the inflammation. And so then we could be getting our management system out of place, and we're doing more patch-up work because we don't have the nutritional density to do true healing work. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so we have to remember 80% of cholesterol is built in the body, is manufactured in-house. So if you don't eat it because you're afraid, because your doctor told you, like they told my parents to tell me, I can't have eggs anymore. The incredible edible egg was taken away from me. But guess what? You can have all the waffles you want. Oh, well, no wonder you had a 55-pound weight problem as a kid. You know what I mean? Setting me up for cardiovascular disease as I'm, when I'm in my 40s or 50s or 60s. I mean, that you can't live on carbohydrates and expect to be healthy. We need good, healthy fats to come into our body. We need good, healthy vitamins and minerals, and essential fats are the foundation, right? And we need to be really pushing away from the amount of grain intake in our society, because most of us adults, I hate to tell you, you've already burned up all of your carbohydrate points for a lifetime. And I know you're only 33. I know you're only 28. But when we build carbitarians, that's what happens. Your body just can't keep up with that level of intake. So we've got to come in and start doing some of these no-grain diets and realize that grains are a necessity when there is famine, not a necessity when we have abundance of potentially good food intake. And so, we want people to be eating more foods without a food label. We want people to be drinking non-stimulant drinks and then get out and breathe the air. I know it's got trillions of pounds of toxins in it, but it's better than the chemicals that are in your house. Or maybe, put plants in your house to filter your air. We talked about that a little bit last night. Because just like the water intake conversation, you either filter your water or you become the filter. You filter your air or you become the filter. And so all these filtering systems that we have to do on our own drive our level of inflammation up, that in turn could potentially cause arterial decline, which would cause our body to need these external inputs from medication. Well, what if we can change that conversation and go, hey, instead of medication first, let's do herbal remedies first, and let's give the body tools to enhance capillary dilation or arterial dilation, or let's work on the actual heart itself and feed the heart. I mean, no one's going around eating heart anymore. They don't serve that at your nearest steakhouse.
Not anymore.
No. I mean, maybe, a couple weeks ago we could have gotten away with it, but,
not today.
Yeah, not today. And the reality is we have tools at Living Well where we can feed the heart. We can nourish the heart. We can change the ratios in the heart that will change the valvular efficiency towards what ideal is. Are you declining? Yes. But man, if you integrated cayenne pepper, hawthorn, garlic, which we didn't even get to the garlic and the cayenne pepper, but if you integrated these at month-long or 2-month-long intervals into your daily regimen of support, what winds up happening is you are now proactively changing the cardiovascular makeup. You're doing molecular shifts and change that you don't have to know much about. You don't have to worry if you're going to have a negative reaction. I know some of you might go, I got a garlic allergy. I got an onion allergy. I got it. And that just means that you have a yeast problem and a liver toxicity problem. And so when we put cayenne pepper into a detox per se, it helps get rid of a lot of the pathogens that we don't like, and it helps to improve blood flow that will help get rid of plaque buildup. And I mean, this stuff's amazing. Garlic, antimicrobial. It is a preservative. A lot of the pepper families are preservatives and antimicrobials to the whatever we're trying to save for another day. And so these have that effect on our body as well. Very antimicrobial, very nourishing to our blood flow. And so again, the dose and the quality matters. But if you find that you can't do something simple like garlic because you have an allergy to it, understand that there's something else driving that. Typically, it's not that you have a real true blue allergy. Less than 5% of the population have a true garlic allergy, like a anaphylactic issue. But most everybody else that has negative reactions to it, those people have excessive amounts of yeast buildup in their body or liver toxicity that's causing their body to have a negative reaction. That negative reaction then is viewed as a bad thing because we are familiar with side effects in drugs. Again, separate the drug conversation, the medication conversation with the herbal conversation, and realize they're two different things. Apples and oranges, you can't compare them, can't put them in the same boat. They're unique and different to their effect on your body.
So let's see. Right now it's 10:01, and I just wanted to encourage you, if you are willing to do this, check out KHEA and Dr. Chapa in a couple different ways. If you go and download the KHEA radio app, it's free in the App Store or the Google Play Store. You can actually access every podcasted version of Kickstart with Dr. Chapa. You can also go to the home. This is the home screen. If you're watching on social media, you'll be able to see this. If you're listening in your car, just download the app and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you on the home screen, you click on content, and then you click on member benefits, and there is actually an offer from Dr. Chapa's office where you can access some really cool things. And we changed that out as much as, whatever Dr. Chapa and the office wants to focus on right now. It's some of the foot baths. I know in the past it was like, hey, there's this package, that package. So go check it out. If you're going there already and you're not accessing this, then you're wasting money. And if you didn't know about this, then now you know. The more you know. So that's some knowledge for you.
Yeah.
Download the KHEA app.
And what this does is this. We want more and more people just to know that there's good information available that they can grab hold of and share it with their friends, family, or loved one, because we know that there's going to be somebody in your realm that is having or dealing with some kind of cardiovascular issue, high blood pressure, something simple like palpitations, even chest pains, or just chronic fatigue where they go walk to their mailbox and back and they're exhausted. They go down the aisles at the grocery store and they're exhausted and it takes them hours to recover. These are all signs and symptoms of blockage and buildup, and there are things that we can do. The last thing I'll say is, one of the testimonies that we heard last night was a gentleman that he's been with me 2 years, and he had a cath study done 2 years ago before he came in and just recently, and he had 60% blockage go down to zero. And
Wow.
And that's because of what we're doing with his heart and what we're doing with these herbs and nutrients, and it works. I mean, it's a powerful tool using herbs and using alternative foods and medicines and lifestyle practices to make your life live better, be better, and stay better. And it all comes down to just doing it one bite at a time. Consistency over time is how we win the race. And at Living Well Clinical Nutrition Center, we're always going to be in your corner. We're going to push you to be your best. We're going to encourage you along the way. We're going to support you when you need a hand up. And I want you to know that you can count on us to be, to listen to your story, to listen to your case. And we want to get to know like why your body's breaking down and to help you figure out what symptoms that you're dealing with that don't need to be there, and then start moving you in a different direction so that you can live the best version of life here on earth. The most productive way to be is to be alive and to be fully functional in spirit, mind, and body. And we want you to live that way and to be that way. So God bless all of you guys. Give us a call at 281-554-8600 or visit our website at justlivewell.com. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Yes. Hey, and here's a couple comments that I wanted to shout out. Wayne was asking, what's the name of the app? It's the KHEA radio app. Wayne also asked about potential in the future hearing more about liver and detoxing of the liver, that he's on this right now. And then Liz Peters with Code Ninjas, which I believe that
Yeah.
Liz, and familiar. She said, hey, I need some help, Dr. Chapa. And then she put cleanse, ? She said, but I love burgers and tacos.
Yes.
It's worth it. It's
Yes.
worth it.
Cleanse.
Cleanse
So
them out.
You detox 42 days a year. We talked about it a little bit last night. 42 days a year is all we want you to be detoxing. And we feel that is enough to move your body forward. You could do 4 10-day programs to be real close to that 42, or you could do 2 21-day programs. So if 21 days seems a little daunting, Liz, no sweat, no worry. We have a smaller program that can accommodate your, kind of dipping your toe in and getting more of a toe in, getting your limbs in. And let's have some fun with it. I mean, you'll learn a lot, and we will modify things to make it usable, user-friendly for you to going through the process, because we want you doing this ongoing. So we today are talking about like the monthly cardiovascular programs. All last month we were talking about detoxification. Mm-hmm. So you can always go back and check the KHEA radio app. You can go to our Living Well YouTube channel and see all the old shows that we talked about at detox. And so, make sure that you search around on all these things, access points, because we try to make ourselves as available as possible so that you have this information.
This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. All right, guys. Hey, y'all be good. Be blessed. Have a great day. I started a watch party inside of the Living Well Detox group, but then I added like 4 more kickstarts with Dr. Chapa in there, and some of them are on the detoxing topic. So if you're not a part of that, it's the Living Well Detox, I believe 2020, you search that.
Right.
Or you go to Dr. Chapa's Living Well Clinical Nutrition page. There's going to be a button on there that says, groups by this page. Go join it, because it is a first of all, there's a lot of information in there, but there's other like-minded people who are on the same journey that you are that are going to be able to give you advice, recipes. And someone earlier said, hey, I want that Thai, I think it was Tammy, I want that Thai soup recipe. I was like, me too. Is her name Kiki?
Yeah, Kika.
Kika.
Yeah. Her name is Erica, but my
Erika.
Oh yeah, my
share
kids,
the recipe.
My kids have renamed her Kika, and so
that's a good name. Yeah.
So when we're at the new place doing like our cooking shows, I'm gonna bring Kika, and we're gonna do some Kika's Kitchen work.
Let's throw it down.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's awesome. All right, be blessed. Have a good day.